Are you in the market for an SUV? Well, now there are more options than you can count on your fingers as well as your toes. And jumping into the fray is the MG Astor. Now, this competes in a hotly contested mid-size SUV segment populated by the Creta, the Seltos, the Kushaq, the Taygun. So for options, you don't lack for anything. This is a very important test, and that's why this test is going to be in 6 parts. I'm at the BIC and I'll be testing out the ride, the handling, the performance, even the ADAS features, and going to the peripheral roads and talking about the real-world usability. While Atish, he's in the studio talking about exteriors, interiors, and fooling around with this, the virtual assistant. AI Inside, that's what it says. If you have any more questions, drop it in the comments below. We will answer that. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. And now, since we are at the BIC, obvious thing to do, we'll set some hot laps. Now, since we are at a racetrack, the first thing we're going to find out on this new Astor is the ride and handling, the dynamic competence of the platform. All the cars here on this test drives are with the 1.4-liter turbo petrol engine. It makes 138 bhp, 220 Newton meters of torque, and it comes mated exclusively to the 6-speed automatic transmission. This is a torque converter, not a twin clutch automatic. It has a sport mode. So we'll stick it in the sport mode and go for a lap around the BIC. Now, the obvious question is that this is something made for the road. So what are we doing here on a racetrack? This is not meant for a racetrack. So this might not be the most appropriate place to test it. But what this does tell you, testing it here at the BIC, is you can push the chassis to its absolute limit and you can come to a proper verdict on the dynamic competence of the Astor. And similar to the ZS EV, of course, this is lighter than the ZS EV, no heavy, bulky battery packs. This actually is quite nice to drive. Now, I'm not going to push it to 10 tenths out here because that really makes no sense. But at 8 tenths, 9 tenths, you do have a bit of body roll, but then that is good for your normal road use. It tells you where the limits of the Astor are. These cars are the top end trim, so 17-inch wheels, 215 section tires. The grip is good. Of course, the tires are howling. These are Continental tires, but the grip is good. The front end response is good, and the setup actually works well on the road where you have slightly bumpy corners, a mixed set of roads. The Astor, it does work well. So tap it down into the corner. It does roll a bit, there is understeer, but it is predictable. It doesn't do anything scary, doesn't frighten you. The competence of the chassis, it definitely is there. Now, this is the hairpin, the tightest corner at the BIC. It can carry a fair bit of speed. I'm doing 70 through that corner, which actually is pretty good. This, like I said, is the 1.4-liter turbo petrol, 148 bhp, 220 Newton meters of torque, 6-speed torque converter automatic. 0 to 100 takes 10.76 seconds. We did multiple runs. 10.76 seconds to 100 is the best that we got, which is kind of on par, very close to what the rivals in this class do. You also have the 1.5-liter naturally aspirated engine. Now, those cars are not here, we haven't tested it, but that is most likely to be the volume seller because that is not turbocharged, that is a naturally aspirated engine. So obviously that will be more competitive on pricing. The thing about the Astor is that it does not feel heavy. It feels light, agile, a little nimble, a little involving, to be honest. We are familiar with this platform from the ZS EV. Obviously, ZS is more heavy than the Astor, but this platform actually does work well. It feels close to what the rivals in this class are doing. The steering wheel with the dimpled edges where your hands rest, it feels really nice. You do not get paddle shifters for the gearbox, but the steering wheel in terms of the feel is nice. And the steering weight is also good. Now you can adjust the steering weight. There is dynamic, urban, and normal. I've set it in dynamic, and dynamic actually works very well. So I would use dynamic as the default mode. So it doesn't feel too light, doesn't feel too flighty. you can push the Astor on the track. It's not like one of those SUVs where it looks at a track and drops dead. It can be hustled, and that means when you take it out on your favorite driving road on a Sunday morning, the Astor will keep up with bigger cars and will actually surprise you with how much speed it can carry through corners. That's 120 km through the parabola, which is not bad for a road car, especially a mid-size SUV. And the steering, it does let you push the car with precision. You know exactly what the front end is up to. The ESP works quite well, not that intrusive. I've actually switched it off, but obviously you can't switch off ESP completely in any SUV. So it does cut in when it senses that things are going way overboard. But otherwise it lets you do your thing. Of course, we must talk about the way the Astor is styled. To me, this looks good. The grille, okay, there is a bit of bling on it, but that is what people do like. So this is just catering to the current tastes and trends. But to tell you more about the exterior styling, let's toss to Atish in the studio.
Round 2 is about styling, because styling plays a huge role in the mid-size SUV segment. You need something that's stylish, you need something that's cool, you need something that's flashy. And the MG Astor, it's all of those things. The front end is familiar because this Astor actually shares its platform with the ZS EV and it borrows its styling, but it is updated. So you've got sharper looking headlamps with these 9 crystalline elements in there. You've got different bumpers, and the centerpiece of it all is the Celestial grille. This grille is exclusive to India. The ZS is sold all over the world, but this grille is exclusive to India. And it's very cool because you've got these chrome elements that radiate outside from the MG logo in the center, and it looks pretty flashy, flashier than the ZS does in other countries, and I think it'll work well for India. When you move over to the side, things get even more familiar because the Astor looks very similar to the ZS EV in profile. But you do get cool looking 17-inch alloy wheels with red braking calipers behind them, and that hints to MG's sporting heritage. MG used to build some extremely desirable sports cars, and red brake calipers, they're very desirable. Over here, you've got heated ORVMs, extremely useful for the monsoons, and MG hasn't given up its obsession with badges. You've got a Brit Dynamic badge over here, which indicates that this has the turbocharged petrol engine, and on the other side, you've actually got an AI Inside badge here on the door. Come further back, you'll see rear disc brakes, thumbs up for that, and obviously, like every other SUV in the segment, you've got a whole bunch of cladding to make it look more butch and more chunky. And when you come around to the rear, you come to a really flattering angle of the Astor. These tail lamps, the detail in them, it's very, very nice. It looks really sophisticated, and there's a ton of badging at the back again. You've got the Astor badge in the center. On the left, you have the ZS badge because this belongs to the ZS family of cars globally, and they've chosen not to take that out for India. And over there, in red, you've got the ADAS badge, which indicates that it packs the radar features. In terms of dimensions, the Astor actually sets the benchmark in its class. It's longer than rivals like the Taygun and the Kushaq, even the Creta. And even in terms of its width, it's wider than the Creta. So that is a pretty big car while rolling down the road. Overall, I think the MG Astor looks really, really good. It isn't like a traditional SUV, very upright and very bold. It's got softer, more flowing lines, and I think that works really well, especially when contrasted with the sharp details in the headlamps, the grille, and the tail lamps. We were on a call with Carl Gotham, who's the Advanced Director of Design at MG's London Design Studio, and he was telling us how the MG Astor was designed with a global audience in mind, but with British design at the heart of it. And with cars in this segment from Korea, from France, from Germany, from the Czech Republic, this British designed car, it really, really stands out.
The interiors are particularly nice. The steering wheel, when you drive it, it feels really high quality. These dimpled hand grips, they feel sporty, they feel premium. The seats are nice and comfortable. They're decently supportive as well. And I love what they've done with this red interior theme. They call it Sangria. It contrasts well with the black top of the dash. The top of the dash also is a soft touch quality plastic which feels premium. Even the rest of the dash, there really is nothing that is out of place and feels not so nice. There's this huge sunroof, a lot of light into the cabin. You get a full digital cockpit, which none of the rivals in this class give you. There are these eyes on the dash that look at you when you say, "Hello, Astor," and then you ask it to tell you a joke or something like that. But to tell you more about all of this, let's talk to Atish, who is in the studio and fooling around with the AI assistant.
Round 4 is all about the interiors because that is where you spend all your time and it is extremely important. The mid-sized SUV segment has pushed the boundaries of what we can expect at this price point, and the Astor is no different. There's so much to talk about on the Astor's interior. I don't even know where to start, but I think I have an idea. Check this out. The keys, I'm going to chuck them out of the window, and I can start the car using a phone. How cool is that? You don't need your key to start the Astor, and that's because this phone hooks up to the Astor's Bluetooth system and it can unlock the car, it can start the car, and you can drive the car using just your phone as your key. Just make sure your phone doesn't run out of battery because then you'll be stuck. There's a lot of tech going on with the Astor and I'll address all of it in a bit. But let's get down to fundamentals first. In terms of your seating position, you've got electrically adjustable seats, adjustable 6 ways, so you can adjust your seat and get into a very comfortable position easily. Your steering wheel, adjustable for rake, not reach. But apart from that, you can really get into a nice, comfortable position. You've got a 7-inch digital instrument cluster, which is flanked by a digital speedo and a digital tacho, and it's actually very easy to read. You got the ADAS feature, so that display helps you understand what ADAS systems are running and what aren't. And over here, you've got a 10.1-inch infotainment system. Now, the touchscreen is very reactive, very easy to use. And in addition to all of that, it comes packing Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all of the usual business. But like MG has done in the past, you've also got a lot of apps on here. So you've got JioSaavn, so you can browse media. So you can browse songs and stream them from online, which is great. And this is a subscription that you get with the car. And there's a lot more going on over here. You can even jump into the settings and control all of the ADAS features from this screen. Something that really stands out about the MG Astor's interiors are its upholstery, and this is a nice dark red color. It's very bold from MG. Nobody in this segment does stuff like this. Everybody tries to play it safe, but this red interior looks really, really good. And it isn't just the colors, it's also the quality. So everything you touch, all of this is all soft touch leather. Even the top of the dash is soft touch. So it all feels very premium, very expensive. You don't have quality fit and finish in this class like you have on the MG Astor. Even the door pads, they're all soft touch. It feels really, really well put together and very well executed. The MG Astor comes packing a lot of features. So you've got your 360-degree camera over here, you've got an electronic parking brake, you've got a huge panoramic sunroof, and in terms of what it offers, there are a couple of things missing, maybe ventilated seats, maybe a wireless phone charger, but apart from that, it gets everything you would need in this segment. One of the big talking points of the Astor's interiors is the AI functionality. Now, this little bot that you see over here, that's just a physical manifestation of the AI. That is not actually the brain of the car, but it's very cool. Let me show you how it works. Hello, Astor.
I'm here.
As you can see, when I call out to it, it actually turns towards me and looks at me. If the passenger calls out to it, it turns towards the passenger and looks at the passenger. And it's got a very human face. So it's got these two little eyes and it makes little mannerisms when it talks to you. Let me show you how that works. Hello, Astor.
I am listening.
Open the sunroof. So it waved at me and now it's showing me a graphic that's telling me that the sunroof is opening. But that's not all it can do. There's a lot more that's been packed in here. For example, you can browse the internet and get information. Hello, Astor.
I'm here.
Tell me about Barack Obama.
Barack Hussein Obama II is an American politician and attorney who served as the 44th President of the
See what I mean? It can do so much more than just control the car's functions. You can obviously control the AC, the sunroof, all of that, but you can also listen to the news. You can also surf the internet. It can tell you jokes. There's so much functionality packed into this. Now, there's something else that needs to be talked about when you talk about AI functionality like this, and that is, does it distract the driver? It's not in my line of sight exactly. I've got a good line of sight. It's a small hump in my line of sight, so it isn't too distracting from that sense. But when it's moving around and when it's talking, that we're gonna have to check once we drive the car and see if it's actually very distracting. That's it for the front seat, but there's also the back seat to consider. So let's hop into the back and see what that's like. The rear seat is actually very comfortable. I've got a good amount of room, about 2.5 inches of knee room. And the most important thing is I've got a lot of space to put my feet down under the seat. I can actually stretch out in the back seat of the Astor. The backrest, it's supportive, it's comfortable. You've got an adjustable headrest over here. All three of them are adjustable in fact. And I've got an armrest over here with an integrated cup holder. You've also got AC vents at the back, though there's no adjustability for the fan speed, and you've got 2 USB sockets in the back. But at the back, the quality feels just as good as the front. Again, the door pads have soft touch leather on them. You've got a nice big airy glass area, and the back seat is a comfortable place to be. Let's also check out the boot space of the MG Astor. Now, MG hasn't given us any measurements yet, but we'll try and measure it ourselves. So this small suitcase fits in comfortably. You can probably fit 2 of them side by side, and you can probably stack 2 of them up as well. So it's got a fair amount of room. You can fit a couple of bags in there. And underneath this, there's a slight lip here. Underneath this, you've got a 16-inch steel wheel, which acts as a spare. Overall, the interiors of the Astor are very good, but there's a lot more to discover about the driving. So back to Sirish at the track.
Now, driving on the racetrack is all well and good, but what does the Astor feel like in the real world? Now, one thing that I really like are these physical buttons for the blower and the temperature, so you don't have to hunt within the touchscreen for operating it, which is actually a good thing. The second thing is that the ride quality works really well. So quite a few speed breakers out here on the internal roads within the whole BIC complex, and it takes these speed breakers really well. The ride quality is good. So on the track, there is a bit of body roll, there is a bit of understeer, but all that translates into a very sorted driving experience in the real world. The rest of the cabin also comfortable. These seats, they're nice, wide, accommodating, and comfortable. There's a good amount of space within the cabin. The sunroof, it is massive. It has not a hard cover, sort of like a curtain in the cover, so you can feel the hot sun on your head, especially in the noon. A big talking point on the Astor are the ADAS and the level 2 autonomy features, and you can adjust all of it. So you have forward collision warning, you can switch it off, or you can just have it to alert, or also do emergency braking. You can adjust the sensitivity, high, medium, low. You also have pedestrian auto emergency braking, so suppose a pedestrian or even an animal jumps across in front of you, you don't see it or you react late, the Astor will brake autonomously and save you from a collision. You have the rear drive assist, so you stick it into reverse, and if something is coming at you in either direction, this will warn you and will alert you not to reverse and wait for the danger to pass. The Astor also has blind spot warning, so if something is coming at you in your blind spot, it will light up, and if you say put your indicator and you plan to turn and there is something in your blind spot, it will flash a warning and alert you that there is something in your blind spot. Then you have the lane assist system, so you have lane keep assist, lane departure warning. You can also switch it off in case it becomes intrusive. You can set it to only vibrate or also sound out. And then you have the speed assist system, so this reads the speed warnings and alerts you. So that can also be done manually, or you can have it intelligent where it reads the signboards and tells you that you are speeding, or you can switch it off. Also on the Astor, you can adjust the sensitivity and the weight of the steering. So in dynamic, it becomes more heavy. You can have it in normal, and in urban, which is for city driving, it becomes pretty light, so it becomes easy to drive. I found dynamic to be best, not too heavy, but also it makes the Astor feel a little more planted. Another thing I should point out, the stability control and the traction control can be switched off with this button out here. So it's got a proper hard button. You don't have to dig into the menus. Though that said, the menu system is actually very intuitive and you can find everything very easily. Plus, you have these row of physical hard buttons. So for the home, you can adjust the volume, so you don't have to use the touchscreen to adjust the volume. You can adjust the temperature also via these hard buttons. So that is very nice and makes operating the Astor pretty easy. Plus, of course, you also have the intelligent AI assistant in the car. Hello, Astor.
Hi, how can I help?
And it actually is not that creepy. Then you have active cruise control, so you can set the speed. If the car in front of you is slowing down or accelerating, it will set that same speed that you set and follow the car or the traffic ahead. So that's easy. And overall, it's actually a very pleasant car to drive. There is a bit of turbo lag. In fact, you notice that because the turbo comes on song really nicely at around 2800 RPM. Then you feel that little kick from the turbo, which is nice. It's something that I like. The gearbox slightly slow to respond. It's not a trouble, and you can stick it into sport mode and then it becomes a little more eager. This is a regular torque converter, not a DCT gearbox. The brakes, they work really well. All 4 disc brakes, not drum brakes at the rear, all 4 disc brakes. The brake pedal is a little long and the feel is a little soft, but braking performance and retardation is pretty good. And overall, it rides and handles really nicely. And that is the European sophistication and dynamics of the chassis at work. They haven't softened it for India, they haven't raised the ground clearance too much for India. So it's just right. It works very well in our road conditions. So that's the lane keep assist at work. It works above 70 kilometers per hour. So if you slow down for a speed breaker, it's scary to demonstrate this. It's a good thing that there's no traffic around here. But it works. Now, we don't know what the Astor is going to be priced at, but we do have experience of how aggressively MG prices their cars. And the Astor, it will be no different. It will go up against the Creta, the Seltos, the Kushaq, the Taygun. It will undercut them on pricing. It will offer more in terms of features, level 2 autonomy features, the ADAS functions. It all works really well and does make the car safer in our Indian traffic conditions. Also, on the exterior, it does look quite good, very well balanced and proportionate. On the interior, loaded with kit, and it does feel premium. The ride and handling, it is grown up, it is mature and sophisticated, works well in the real world. Okay, no diesel engines, but the turbo petrol engine, it does work well and it is well suited to the character of the car. Ultimately though, if MG does price the Astor as aggressively as we expect it to, they are going to rake in serious volumes. And good thing for them is that there are a couple of car factories in India which are up for sale. I'm sure MG is making some calls.
Yeah.